Right, so good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to Cannon Fodder, the channel for Arsenal fans. I almost forgot my lines there. I've been saying it thousands of times for Arsenal fans all over this world. I've got returning two familiar faces and one newbie. Yeah, bottom left, just below me. Yeah, down under. And we've just
That's
seen
it.
Arsenal beat Fulham. And I predicted, what did I predict, Move? 3-1, 3-0?
3-1, 3-1 for you.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, we're gonna get into it. Yeah, so welcome back to Cannon Fodder, the channel for Arsenal fans, literally all over this world. And this is the first post-game reaction. I'm sure we're going to be in a lot more this season. I'm not so sure about doing live watch-alongs. They're very, very stressful, really, really stressful. I don't like them personally, but if you demand that of Cannon Fodder TV, then I maybe need to get somebody else to do the watch-alongs. They're very, very stressful. But anyway, if you're watching us for the first time, make sure you subscribe to Cannon Fodder TV on all platforms and hit the bell notification button so you can receive all the latest news right here on this wonderful channel. Right, so quick intros. Mube Guna, who's 1/3 of the Cannon Fodder TV Mafia. How you going, big man?
We're at the game, man. Season started. You guys already know how I do, man. Mobay is here. I know it's kind of early in the state. Usually, you know me, I have my bottles of Hennessy, but I'm not getting up at 6 o'clock drinking Hennessy. It's too early. But Alex, I do got a surprise for you, though, because I did get the new kit.
Ooh.
And
Okay.
I did put something on the back.
I can't see. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
But I didn't put the name on the back. I ain't gonna
All
do
right.
you like that. I ain't gonna do you like that. So I did make a change. I didn't put Ozil
Okay.
on the back. I made sure I changed it up. So I got you.
Thank you very much. And we've got returning James Rowe. James Rowe, welcome back. It's been a while, hasn't it? It's been a while.
Yeah, nice to be back, Alex. As always, yeah, it's been a while, but no rest for the wicked with interviews and arranging things properly. So yeah, nice to be back again.
Good. And we've got a newbie, Jim. Jim has been giving me a hard time for the last 3 or 4 weeks on the morning segment. I've been doing live shows for the last 4 to 5 weeks, and Jim, bless his cotton socks, always comes in with a nice comment to make my day. Jim, how are you, mate?
I'm excellent. Nice to be on the show. I've been enjoying your program. It's a great program. I've actually watched it grow up in the subscribers. And Alex, you sent me James as one of your Cannon Fodder programs, and I was listening to your comments and IG Gunners as well. And I thought you had a very great technical understanding of the game, James.
Oh,
Thank you very much.
I really enjoyed the comments.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So let's get into it. Yeah. So the game today, the season opener. Well, apart from the Community Shield, that is Fulham versus Arsenal. My favorite team versus my second favorite team, Mube Guna. Are you allowed to have second favorite teams, Mube?
Hey, I don't think it should allow to have them in the same Premier League. But if that's what if that's what flows you, I don't have one. I really don't. I don't have one. I usually like Real Madrid because Zidane is really my favorite player of all time. Right below Thierry Henry. But other than that, I really just watch balls. I don't really have a second team. But if that flows for you, that's you.
Okay, all right, thank you. Right, so Jim has been taking notes about it because I had problems with my live stream today. Jim, can you give us your thoughts about the game, how you saw it roll out in front of your eyes? What do you think about the game?
Now, this is just off the cuff. I won't go by my notes. I just go by memory. I thought the game started out very well, and I expected Arteta to do exactly what he did. All right, in bringing William, all right, and Gabriel, which was very, very good. And I was a surprise pick that he chose them. All right, and I thought it was very good. Now, when you look at the bench, it's a terrific second team, and that's exactly what Arsenal's always been wanting, a great second bench team. So he could have swapped anybody on there, and they wouldn't have missed a beat in the problem. So great team pick, I thought. It was very, very good. I thought that Gabriel was a bit nervous to begin with, just to try and steady, but he steadied, and once he steadied, he became very confident, which was great. My impression of William, as I thought he might do, he would steal the show, and William did for his 17 minutes, stole the show. And what Arteta was making a statement by saying, I need an intelligent midfielder going forward. I needed a very intelligent. You see, Williams always been a great technical player. Slows the game down, speeds it up. Great passer of the ball. He led to at least 2 goals, 2 assists, 2 goals at least. And so I thought that was excellent. So that was my overall view of the game. And I thought that the stars of the show was really the best players to me: William, Granit Xhaka, and Laka. Not to mention Aubameyang when he came in. Terrific goal. I was expecting that to go to the top right-hand corner looking at the game. Expected it to go there.
Yeah. Jim, can I just ask you one question? Were you not surprised to see Elneny in the starting 11?
No, I wasn't.
No?
No, I wasn't, yeah. I thought that Arteta was making a statement. And the statement is that we're going to play it my way this year. I'm not going to be overawed by reputations.
Yeah.
And I'm making a statement. To get into this team, you need to be as good as the team I've chosen. You need to push these people out. And if I'm in the team, I'd want to stay in. So I would have to put on a great performance to win the manager's, sort of mind for the next game. So I wasn't surprised. It's the first game. I expected them to win and win well. But now, to be really honest, if they had come up against a stronger team, not a team that's just come up from the championship, it may very well have been a 1-0 or a draw. I thought they did well to get 3 goals, but another team, it would have been much tighter. And a good team, they would have been very, very tight. They wouldn't have paraded as good as they did today.
Okay. James, your thoughts? I know you didn't see the game because it wasn't shown over in Holland, but again, going by what you've read and heard, what are your thoughts on the game today?
Well, I just wanted to concur with what Jim said, especially about facing a better team, because you have to remember in our opening 9 Premier League games this season, we face 6 of the last season's top 7. At home to Sheffield United, away to Liverpool, for example, and so we're going to face some more difficult challenges. If you think of the 9 games that are coming up after, obviously, Fulham and West Ham, of course, and the mix that involves, we're going to face some difficult teams. But it's great to get off to a good start. Craven Cottage is a happy hunting ground, and we just have to take it one game at a time. I mean, I see a lot of people get being a little bit giving a little bit of an overreaction as to how well we've done today, and the thoughts that we're going to win the league or we're going to finish top 4. I think people forget how long a Premier League season actually is. And the reason why it's so unpredictable is because, so many teams are full of great teams, great squads, good managers, and you can't predict it at times. So what we've got to do is we've got to take one game at a time and do our best. The games are going to come thick and fast as well. We've got, in 10 days' time, we face Leicester in the League Cup. We haven't won the League Cup since 1993. And then I'm really interested to see how the rhythm of the team when we go on to play European football as well. So, it's a long, hard season. We can enjoy today, a comprehensive win. But as Jim says, a team that came up through the Championship playoffs and could have so easily been Brentford as well. So we can enjoy today and then look forward to West Ham next Sunday. But there are more tougher and sterner tests ahead this season, I believe.
Okay. And you have predicted a 1-1 draw, didn't you, James? If memory serves you right. Did you predict it to draw?
I did.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the reason why I stated that was because I wasn't entirely convinced with the pre-season that Arsenal had. and obviously losing to Aston Villa behind closed doors, and that kind of thing. And obviously Fulham having a good manager in Scott Parker. One of my recent interviews was with his former teammate Jonathan Fortune, and they played together at Charlton. And Jonathan Fortune would often laud the way that Parker would conduct himself as club captain in the dressing room. You know, that he would act like a manager when he was still a captain of a football club. And I thought to myself, if you put those ingredients together, and the fact we're playing away from home, that was the reason why I suggested that. But I'm pleasantly surprised. And you know, when Arsenal win, I'm happy, of course. But this is my, I think, 31st season supporting Arsenal. So you know, you've been through the George Graham era, been through the Arsene Wenger era, Unai Emery, of course, and now Mikel Arteta, as well as the few caretakers in Pat Rice and Stuart Houston. So you know, many a twist and turn. So most important thing is to enjoy it, of course.
Yeah, Mube Guna, what's your impression of the game today?
It's always nervous when you play the first game of the season. You don't know what you're gonna get. You know, we've seen this over and over again. We get easy first games and we just don't win. I remember, you know, West Ham. I remember Aston Villa. I remember, you know, I can't go as far back, but opening game just haven't been good for us over the past few seasons. So, it was always gonna be a game that you don't really know what's gonna happen. But once you see the team sheet and once I saw the team sheet, you know, you're automatic. You're going to look to certain players, the new players, you know, the Willian, the Gabriel. You're going to look at these players and say, you know, you want to see what these players can do. And I agree with what my guy said earlier that I think Gabriel started off a little bit nervous. Him and Leno had that mixed up early in the game, but after that, I think he was solid. I'm really impressed with the way, and I haven't really watched him a lot. I watched him in a game against Chelsea, and I watched a couple of videos of him, but he's not a player that dives into challenges. You can see he stays on his feet when he is one-on-one with a player. He doesn't slide tackle a lot, which is good because we've seen that over the years with Mustafi, and it's been one of our downfalls, giving away free kicks around the box. We did give away a couple today. Bellerin gave away a stupid one, like you said. Like James just said, if we had a better opposition that can, you know, take advantage of those free kick situations, we probably would have been a different story. But I think overall we're solid. It's just this team, man. You can just see from last season we have a structure now to the team. There is a defensive structure. You know, it's not that we have better players than we did last year, or it's just there's a structure there. There's something there that you can hold on to, and you can say, you know, I think we're going to play this kind of formation, or we're going to defend well. I expect us to go with a back three because all the defensive injuries that we had. So that wasn't a surprise. I expect to see, you know, Bellerin and Niles starting on the wing back. So the only surprise for me was Elneny starting in the mid. I thought Ceballos was going to start, but then he didn't really play much of a preseason. He came in and had that one half the game against Aston Villa behind closed doors, so he didn't really play much. And even when he came on, he looked bright. You can see the change from him from when the start of last season to now. When he gets the ball, he's driving from midfield and he's making forward passes, and that's what we want. We're not going to get that when Xhaka and Elneny is playing in the middle of the field. But they did a job today. They did the job that they were supposed to do. Neither of those players are that kind of player. We're going to need one, and Ceballos is that player. So overall, it was a good game. 3 points. You know, I don't really have much complaint, but shout out to Willian. You know, 3 assists today. You know, Lacazette got off the mark. Aubameyang doing what Aubameyang do. So it's good, man. We actually should have scored more goals. I was disappointed that we didn't score, and Lacazette didn't get another goal. And I was disappointed that Aubameyang didn't take that chance where he tried to round the keeper too. We've seen this movie before when we don't take our chances, the easy chances, and we want a striker to be dead. Strikers need to be deadly this season, and I think we will, man. I think we will do good. I'm very positive about this season, but we'll see.
Yeah. Before I go into the live chat, I want to ask Jim a question. There's been a lot of debating going on in regards to the goalkeeping situation.
Yeah.
Leno, Martinez, Leno. Where do you stand on the fence in regards to the goalkeeping situation?
Yeah, I do like Martinez. I do, and I was surprised that Leno started. There must be something going behind the scenes about transfers. About whether or not Martinez wants to stay or he's got ambitions. And all the talk's been about Martinez, and all of a sudden, Arteta brings in Leno and just sort of quietens that down. So I think there is something going on. I think that in the Martinez camp, they want to move. I don't know why. Maybe it's a money thing. Maybe, I'm not sure. But I thought Leno, well, he didn't. What he did well, but it wasn't much. So it was an easy time for the goalkeeper right there.
Yeah. And James, your thoughts on the goalkeeping situation very quickly before we go into...
Well, as far as I'm aware, Martinez has ambitions to become the eventual national team #1 goalkeeper for Argentina. And I think he wants to move to further his career. It's a shame, really, because we look so much more assured with him as our goalkeeper. I would wager that without him in the FA Cup semi-final, final and Charity Shield, I wonder if we'd have won them. You know, in terms of his presence as a goalkeeper, we hadn't had that for an awful long time. I mean, I don't think we had that under the days of Petr Cech neither. So, you know, it was something very, very welcome. But you can understand players, you know, wanting the ambition. But, you know, we're in the middle of a transfer window, and people always seem to think that buying is the only solution. I like to look at it and draw on my experience, having spoken to many players who play at different levels throughout Europe. A transfer isn't always end of the rainbow stuff. A transfer can sometimes be that you sign for another club, and then a new manager comes in, the player becomes marginalised, he doesn't play very often, and then he starts to kind of doubt himself, and then he starts to wonder. You know, that's why I advocated with Arsenal in particular this window, before spending any money of note, go through that youth setup with a fine-tooth comb, and the ones that are ready and the ones that are good enough, give them that pathway. And I just think with the commercialism surrounding the transfer window now, there's not enough spotlight on what happens on the other side of transfers in terms of agents and little clauses, and also when transfers go wrong, because not every player wants to move, not every transfer becomes a success. Timing is everything in football, and transfers are no different in that respect.
Okay.
Yeah. Go
Do
ahead.
you want to say, Mube, you want to say something?
Yeah. We got to look at it too. He got 2 years left on his contract, and the club offered him and Niles a new contract. Far as I can tell, they offered him a new contract to stay, but he doesn't want to sign that unless he's guaranteed that he was going to start the season as our #1. Now, whether you agree with Mikel Arteta's decision or not, if you're going to have that attitude that you start or you're leaving, then that's not the kind of attitude that I want my goalkeeper either. I want both of them to stay and fight for that #1 spot. And if one is not playing well and you come out, we don't want a keeper on the bench that's going to, you know, be in the media saying that he should have left and stuff like that. You know, it's two goalkeepers that are playing. And if the coach picks one because he thinks Leno is better for whatever reason, look, we all like Martinez. He's a commanding goalkeeper. He played well in the 10 games that we have seen him. But we have seen Leno play well too, with a poor defense in front of him. That's why I think it will be a little bit different for Leno now that we have a structure. He's been playing for 2 years without a structure in front of him. We faced the most shots in the league in the last couple of years, and he's been pretty good for us. So we can't just act like we selling Martinez and then we don't have a goalkeeper that's as good as him, if not better. For me, I have no problem with Leno starting. And if we need the cash, we literally, if Martinez didn't play those 10 games and we had tried to sell him this season, we wouldn't get $5 million for him. We literally had $20 million dropped in our lap for a keeper that has 2 years left on his contract. We can't let this opportunity pass. It's just a part of running the club. So it is what it is. I don't want him to leave, but if he leaves, if that means that we can use that cash to bring in a player like Partey, who am I to complain?
Okay. Let me go. Sorry, Jim, do you want to quickly chip in before I go into the live chat? Or
yeah, no, I'm fine. I just concur with Mulvey there. It's exactly right. I think that I always admire overall all the teams who's the second goalie and the third goalie, and the patience that some of these goalies have had over the years has astounded me. But that's what made the teams great. There was patient goalkeepers, and they were quite happy to be number 2. If you're getting good money, everybody wants to play. I was one of those players that I wanted to play every game, and that was just me. But to be able to take it and relax, and your time will come, that would spur me on to do extra training to become the best goalkeeper I could. That would really get up my sleeve, and I would really work hard. And I think a lot of these goalies do work very hard, but you need to put the defenders always like a top goalie. You say to a defender, if we have a top, we can have confidence in him. So you know what I mean? They can play the game around the goalie. The defenders have in the back of their mind, if we make a mistake, the goalie will. But if the goalie is making too many mistakes, they lose confidence as well in the goalie, and they play away from the goalie. They don't back pass. They don't, they play a different game.
But Jim, isn't Martinez entitled to feel that way? Because he's been at club now, the longest serving Arsenal player. He's been loaned out 6 times. Leno got injured. He came in. He done a fantastic job.
That's right.
Is he not entitled to feel like he should be Arsenal's current number 1, Jim?
Yeah, I would agree. If it was me, if I was Martinez, I'd feel I've done enough. I've proved to the coach, and I've done enough. And so you're right. I'd want to keep my first position now. It's the luck. How many players have been number 1, an injury, and they've never come back to number 1 again. They've had to change clubs. Like look at Joe Hart. As soon as he got injured, he's just been gone. He's just traveled since.
And that's where fans like us have. That's where fans like us have to really look into the situation too. Can we keep these 2 goalkeepers at the club? We're not being fair to these goalkeepers, because either one shouldn't be a backup goalkeeper at any club. There's just too good to do that. So we have to, as fans, look at it from that point of view too. We have to. It's not feasible in this time with the club that we're not Manchester City or Manchester United. We don't have that kind of money. We can't sit on 2 number 1 goalkeeper at this club. As much as we would love to do it, we just can't do it. And either one that leaves, you're gonna have some fans that think this player should stay or that player should stay. But either one leaves, we just have to make sure we reinvest that money. And just like James said, comb through that system. If we have a good goalkeeper in Macy, I watched him play a few times. If we have a good young goalkeeper in him that's willing to learn, like my guy just say, willing to learn from Leno, willing to learn from the coaches, come up through the youth system like James is preaching, then we can use that player. And if he was to get as good as Martinez is in the next 5 years, then we can move another one on and start over again. You're just not going to have 2 number 1 goalkeepers at the club forever. It's not going to happen.
No, I agree. Yeah. I agree. It's very rarely happens.
When was the last time we had 2 number 1 goalkeepers?
Which was the last time we had one number 1 goalkeeper?
Let me go into the live chat and see what everyone's been saying. Amit says, hello, everyone, and hello to you as well, Amit. And there's an interesting question. Vieira, Gilberto Silva, Fabregas, Ozil, who had a bigger impact on the club, James?
Well, given the names he's submitted, I would say Vieira. I think he helped to change the dynamic of an Arsenal midfield. You look at the journey that he went on. Starting out at Cannes and then going to AC Milan and things not quite working out, and we signed him for £3.5 million, which is a real steal. But the presence that man had. I mean, I had the privilege of, before I emigrated to the Netherlands, I used to watch Arsenal on a very regular basis, home and away, and he was playing in that team, and he was built. He was a real specimen, and when you watched him play, he had so much hunger and so much fight, and went on to become captain of Arsenal, and so humble as well. Really, really down to earth, really, really calm, fully aware. I mean, I used to read his program notes when he was captain of the club, and it wasn't you would read things about the opposition managers and players. It wasn't all about Arsenal. I remember reading about when I went to I think it was the when we beaten Roma. I think it was 3-1 in Rome in the Champions League. I think it was second group phase game or first group phase game, and he was saying about the compliments that the team received from the then Roma manager Fabio Capello, but it kind of spurred the team on and made them think, they're in a real good position. But in terms of the names submitted in that list, I'd have to go for Patrick Vieira.
Okay. And Jim, for you, Vieira, Gilberto Silva, Fabregas, Ozil, who had the bigger impact on the club?
Well, Amit's got him in the Amit. You've got him in the right order, as far as I'm concerned. All right. Vieira was the man. He was the man. He was gangly. He was tall. He was fit. He had his long legs that would take the ball off you when you thought you were away. He just had a way of stopping you. He was never in a hurry, never flustered. Brilliant. Gilberto was underrated for a little while, and then the Arsenal supporters realized he was a top player. And then Fabregas, the little general, a great player, but not as good as the other two. I loved him. He was the heart and soul of Arsenal. And Ozil has been like a shooting star. He shoots into a game sometimes, shoots out, in, out. And there's a lot of stuff been going on in his head, I think, personally. And, could be a lot of other stuff that we don't know about. But I like him. When he's playing, he's a maestro. He just drifts into all the right places. But he's lost form. That's my view. Of the last couple of years, Ozil has lost form and confidence.
Okay. Mube.
Hey, you guys already know I'm one of the biggest Ozil fan there is. You guys already know that. That's one of my favorite player. But to put Ozil in a conversation with Vieira, I'm not even gonna entertain that. There's no way I'm gonna entertain that. You do not put Ozil and Fabregas in a conversation with Patrick Vieira. There's nothing more to say about that. Vieira hands down, and like you said, Gilberto Silva. Oh, Mr. Underrated FC, man. That's our guy. Without him, I don't think people really know how important he was, how good he made Vieira look beside him when you look at a player like that. So, man, I'm not even going to entertain that Ozil conversation. That's for another day. Not when Vieira is involved in it. No way.
Okay. All right, nice one. Let's go back into the live chat. Benito Solano, I recognize that name in Costa Rica. He says, hi, Alex and Monty. Monty's our moderator, by the way. Today, I have a big smile on my face, of course. Auba, next Ballon d'Or. Really? Really?
Yeah. Our captain.
Arsenal top league, that's our home. Yeah, okay, well, let's see. Come on, you Gunners. Alex says, Bakara Kamara gives up. What's that? Thumbs up and a bit of fire as well there. And he also says Arsenal for life. That's a long time. And he goes and say, Monty says, leave a thumbs up and also subscribe to Cannon Fodder TV if you are new here. Mr. 999 says, I know it's only been 20 minutes, but I can't wait for West Ham. Okay. One game at a time. James, one game at a time.
Indeed.
Take it easy.
Indeed.
Let's see what else we have here. Great start to the season. We need a bit more creativity in the midfield. If our wingers don't deliver, we will be in trouble. Jim, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I sort of agree. There wasn't an awful lot of your traditional wing play. I thought Bellerin had a really good game. I thought he's overlapping, and what surprised me is the movement of Holding. You saw him straight up into the box, and he was back again. He was probably the most confident defender today. All right, and but William was floating around like I thought he might, to the right, to the left, in the middle. There was some good shots over, but not consistent. So the wing play today was average, I would say. Nothing outstanding, nothing to write home to mother about. It was average, but it was the attack was coming from within the center, and the long balls. You know, the long ball that came through, William, long ball over to Obiang, back of the net. And another was the same. Long balls where the Steeler played. Bellerin, Zaka over to William into the back of the net. You know, it was very good to see.
Yeah. James, here's one for you. Is it just me, or has Hector Bellerin lost a yard of pace?
Is that to me?
I think that would.
Yeah.
After you, Jim.
No, you're right. You're right, James.
I think that was evident from when he suffered his injury. I think when he suffered his injury and he came back, I think that was apparent back then. And obviously, there's been rumours of him leaving Arsenal, being linked with Paris Saint-Germain and Sevilla, and he's been with the club a long time as well. And he's made quite clear about his investment in Forest Green Rovers and being a part of their setup there. So, age also does play a part. You know, he's been bombing up and down the wing for a long time, and also has interest in other areas as well, where some people have said that he might not be entirely focused, but I don't believe that's true. I think he's always tried to be the best possible professional that he can be. But I think it's been evident for some time, but he has lost that, and there are rumours of a move away. But you wonder who Arsenal would turn to should Bellerin decide to leave the club.
And he's at current vice captain, isn't he? Vice captain of Arsenal, I think, Bellerin. Yeah. Okay, here's one question here. Mube, why were Arsenal wearing blue?
Well, it's the new kit. They have to make sure they wear it so they can sell it. That's part of the business. You know, usually we'll wear the red kit, but you know, the new kit just released. It's a part of the business, man. I think we're overdoing it with the kits and the shirts that we're selling. But in a time like this, when you look at it, there's no fans coming in the stadium. This club still got to get run somehow, and they're going to run our pockets. I'm one of the suckers that went ahead and got the jersey, and I'm sure I'm going to get the blue one too soon, and I'm going to get the home one eventually, and it's going to happen. But you know, with no fans coming in the stadium, the club got to work wherever they can and try and work it out. I don't have a problem with the jersey. I don't have a problem with which color they wear, as long as they winning it. That's all that matters.
Okay. Peter Nwambi says, Cannon, if you were the Arsenal manager, that I'm not, would you keep Mohamed El Neni? I probably would, but he wouldn't be a definite 11 start for me. He's probably more of a squad player, in my opinion. What do you guys think, Jim? Would you keep Mohamed El Neni, or would you?
Yeah, it took me a while to notice him in the game today. But when I
before you answer, Jim, let's add something else to that. If we get 10 million for him, would you keep him? Let's add that to it.
Great argument. I'd sell him. Yeah, for sure. But he had a good game. Yeah, you know, I was quite surprised. I was quite surprised that he had a good game, and I think that he was under pressure as well. I think that he knows that he's not necessarily the captain's pick, but he was okay. You know, he was okay today. I was surprised that he got picked in the first place. But you're right. Yeah, I'd sell him for 10 million. Yes.
James, would you keep El Neni?
Depends on the offer. If the offer is derisory, I'd keep him. If the offer is quite good, I'd consider selling him. But I really do think that his loan spell at Besiktas has done him the world of good.
Yeah.
You know, Besiktas are, along with Galatasaray and Fenerbahce, the biggest clubs in Turkey. I know they've been eclipsed by Başakşehir in recent seasons, but you know, to play in front of that particular home crowd, you've got to have something about you. And I think the end of the transfer window of the next 3 weeks, I think not just any potential incomings, but I think potential loans from Arsenal's first team squad are also going to be vitally important. You know, you read reports that there are 33 players on the books, and you know, the young players in particular, they've got to get the opportunity to play. And to give you an example, you know, Zach Medley has gone on loan to Gillingham. Zach Medley, when he broke through at Arsenal, was playing European football, was on the bench and in contention to play Premier League games, and now he's going on loan to Gillingham. And what must he be thinking? You know, we've got an opportunity now to kind of really go through the youth setup with a fine tooth comb towards the end of this transfer window to look after our young players. It's about looking after them. You know, I tweeted out about, you know, the pathway for Mark McGuinness and Daniel Ballard, and I was told in some quarters that if they played, Arsenal would finish 16th. And I was trying to give the point that when you are a big club with a good youth setup, you know, the best ones come through. I mean, you take Monaco, for example. A club like Monaco, their youth setup has always been the jewel in their crown, always, from the likes of Henry and Trezeguet and many, many names. And Monaco have also been linked with Emile Smith-Rowe. Now, can you imagine if that becomes concrete? He can't get a game for Arsenal, went on loan to Huddersfield, and now there's potential interest from Monaco. I watched Emile Smith-Rowe play against Sporting Lisbon back in, I think it was November 2018. And it was a really, really physical Sporting Lisbon side. It wasn't a great game. It was a 0-0 draw, but it was a really physical Sporting Lisbon side with the likes of Nani and Mathieu and some very good players. And he really held his own. So I think towards the end of this transfer window, we've got some work to do, not just in terms of that everybody thinks bringing names in, looking after and giving our young players the best possible development in their own individual careers as well.
Okay, just back into the chat for the last time. Mohammed Sano says, good game, good win, but I kind of missed David Luiz today. I didn't see those long balls today, Mube. There were no long balls because David Luiz wasn't playing today.
Well, we did play quite a few long ball, but it's also good to see that we can play different style when different players are not playing. We're not stuck to. We did play a few long balls actually, but maybe it's not as much or not from as deep as, you know, David Luiz will ping him from his own 18-yard box to the next one. We didn't really see those today, but I remember Bellerin playing Lacazette in on a long ball. Granit Xhaka was making a few. He put Aubameyang in with one over the top. So there was quite a few long ball. Yeah, they wasn't coming from him, but it's good to see that we have other players that can come in and do a job. But we have different ways of playing, just not stuck on one way. Because if we get stuck on just David Luiz playing those players, it's easy for the opposition just to go and put a center forward on him and deny him the ball. And then we're sitting there looking like, what do we do now? You know, who is going to be that next player who's going to distribute the ball? So it's good to see us play different ways. But going back to that question that you just asked a while ago about El Nene, I agree with what the guys just say, man. It's imperative. I have no problem keeping him, but if you get an offer for a player like that is not first choice, you know, if somebody come and trying to offer you $2 million or whatever, you don't take it. But somebody come offer you $10 million, I want to see a Smith-Rowe play. I want to see Joe Willock, even though I don't know what he do well. I want to see those players get game time. So you definitely have to give the youths a chance. And if players like this offer comes up for them, you know, it's time to go. We can't keep all these players, man. 33 players we have.
Too much.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Just one more before we wrap this one up. I think we need Partey and Hossam. Oh, Jim. 2 targets that we need. Well, the fan base are crying out for. When I do videos, preloaded videos on these 2 players, I mean, people just cry out for these 2 players. Going back to the point of what James saying about having the youth players come through, do we really need to spend millions on these players rather than going for the players who are paying for the under 23 teams? Do we have to spend all that money, the millions of money for those players there?
Yeah, well, there's the dilemma. To mix it with City, Man United, you know, Chelsea, and that it seems to be the trend to buy the best you can, is to spend, bring in extraordinary players, and I think that's the competition that gets in the way of the younger player who may get discouraged to think of all these big names, coming in. I've got to really work hard, not getting anywhere, and so on. So, to me, the good question to ask is this today: if Partey was in there today and Aouar today, would they have made a greater difference to the entire game? How would they have fitted into this team today? Considering it was against Fulham, no disrespect to Fulham, but they've just come up. They're a bit nervous from the Championship. But you're right. I'd be inclined, if I was the manager, to go for Partey and our exceptional players. All right. But I would also feel bad for the younger players that have been there since they were 10 years old, 12. You get the idea? So it's a conscience thing, I think.
Yeah. And James, for you, I think I know the answer. Do we have to be spending millions of pounds for Thomas Partey and Houssem Aouar?
Okay, well, my answer to that question is if we buy both of them, or even one of them, what happens to Joe Willock and Emil Smith Rowe? Yeah. What happens to those? What happens to those players? Daniel Ballard is a centre half in our under-23 academy. He's above 6 foot tall, and he's got a real bright future ahead of him. He's already been capped by Northern Ireland. I know that Northern Ireland don't have the biggest player pool to pick from, but to already be capped for Northern Ireland and to play in the Nations League, you've got a great player on your hands. And I just think that they really need to kind of think a little bit further. Yes, I'm in a privileged position where I speak to professional players and managers, and I've spoken to players in particular that have been on both sides of successful transfers. One of them being a transfer where it literally changed their career. Another one being one where he was marginalised, couldn't get a game, and couldn't wait to leave. So fans, I can understand Jim's point about if you want to mix it. But the facts remain. We have not won the title for 16 years. And with the greatest respect, we're not going to win it anytime soon. So the best thing to do is to try to put things in place and to find a good mix of youth and experience to one day put us in a position, hopefully within the next 3 to 5 years, if you're realistic, where we hopefully can win the league. But to disregard of the youth completely, that's never been Arsenal's way, and I hate to think that those habits are starting to creep in.
Mube.
The thing with that, I always said from the start of the season, and I talked to you, Alex, before, and I always say, if we got Ceballos back, I don't see us getting Ceballos and Aouar. I don't really think that would it make us have a better squad? Yeah, obviously, but I don't think that Aouar is that player that's gonna transform Arsenal from being an 8th place team to trying to challenge for the league. So I didn't really see the sense of bringing Ceballos back if we were going to go for that player. Partey on another level, that's a transcendent player. That's a player that we just don't have at this club. Partey can do stuff that Willock just can't do at this age. Granit Xhaka can't do at this age. And I know we're trying to build for the future, but if we was to bring in one of those players, I want to bring in Partey. The reason why I say that is, if you have a player in Partey, you get rid of El Nene, you get rid of Ozil, you still have Joe Willock, you still have Smith Rowe. There's still plenty of game time that can go around for those 2 young players. We don't really have that much option other than those 3. You look at Ceballos, Partey, if he come in, Granit Xhaka. If El Nene leaves, we're really sharper options in that midfield 3 of the workhorse. We can always put William in at number 10, but number 10 is dying anyway. We already know that. But I don't think if it's all depends on if we sell some of these players that's taking up the squad. I want to see Smith Rowe play. I want to see a Joe Willock play, but you also want to see a solid team. You want to see we got to take advantage of the strike force that we have right now. The striker that we have in Aubameyang. He's gonna sign a new 3-year contract. What can we put around him now to be competitive? That's the reason why he's staying here. Obviously, the club is not going to tell him, "Oh, we're going to try and build a youth project and you're going to be our captain." He's not going to stay. He's staying here because he want to win. That's the reason why we're bringing a player like Willian. We could say we didn't really need Willian, but we have plenty of young wingers at the club. But just for someone to come in for the right now while we're building the future, we have a lot of games coming up, man. There's going to be a lot of games for Nketiah, Reese Nelson, Saka, Smith Rowe. I'm pretty sure he's going to get some game time. Joe Willock. Joe Willock has had his chance too. Let's not forget that he's had a lot of chances to play, and he's just haven't nailed down a spot. So we have seen Joe Willock play for the last 2 years fully. When he was Emery, when Emery was here, Emery played him a lot. And we've seen Arteta come in and he's trust him and put him in some games also. We've seen him play a lot. So at some point, we got to put the pressure on these players too and say, look, if you don't want to nail down a spot, you know, there's going to be players here that's going to fight for it. And just like anybody else, they got to fight for their spot too. But move out some of these other players. Leave the young players in there. But if we bring in a player like Partey, that midfield, a midfield three of Partey, Xhaka, and Ceballos, yes, we would see a different game today. That's a dominant midfield. I'm not saying go buy both of them, and I'm not even a big fan of this O'Hara guy because I just think that him and Ceballos are so similar in the kind of player that they are. I don't think we need to go spend $60 million on a player unless Ceballos is going to go back to Real Madrid. We can probably get O'Hara next season, maybe. But right now, Partey is that guy that can take us from 8 to finish in the top 4. I'm very confident in that.
Okay. Right. So I just want to go around very, very quickly. You can tell me who was your man of the match for today. I saw that was it Gabriel who got man of the match, but who personally do you think was your man of the match? Jim.
I would say William was my man of the match today for his all-round contribution. Yeah.
Okay. James, your man of the match. Even well, actually, you didn't see the match, did you? So.
No, but due to the assists and a fantastic debut, I'd have to agree with Jim. It appears William should be rightly crowned as man of the match today, I reckon.
Okay. Mube, for you?
I know we got some Chelsea fans that watching, so you know William is the reincarnation of Cristiano Ronaldo. You know what I'm saying? We got to give it to, but all jokes aside, man, it was a debut for him. It was a good debut for him. He also hit the post from a free kick. Yes. You know, it's good to have another free kick specialist in our team. We know Pepe can take a few, Alba can take a few. Now we got William to add to the mix. That's always exciting, man. But shout out to Gabriel too, man. He was solid too. But yeah, definitely William nodded for me today.
Brilliant. So, guys, that's it. That's the first post-game reaction of on Cannon Fodder TV. Arsenal beat my second favourite team, Fulham, and got a good run out. And of course, the two strikers, Laka and Orba, got on the score sheet, and of course, a new boy, Gabriel Magalhães, has also got on the score sheet as well. I want to say a big thank you, massive thank you to Jim. I know it's quite late over in Australia now, isn't it? What's the time?
It's well after midnight.
Oh, my goodness.
It's nearly 1 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, my goodness. All right. But listen, I want to thank you very much for coming on. But it's not going to be the last time, Jim. We're going to have you back on again very, very soon, if that's okay.
No, that's fine.
Brilliant.
I'd like to congratulate Mobe. You know, you forget sometimes the Americans, you think that they don't know anything about, football in the UK, but Mobe's knowledge of this game shows he's a real enthusiast, and and I really appreciated your insights and your understanding of the Great British Game. I guess we would call that, and also James's insights as usual. So thank you for your enthusiasm.
Brilliant.
For football across the pond.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice one, Jim. Yeah. Thank you. But again, we're going to have you back on very, very soon. And of course, James Rowe, my good friend James Rowe. Really good to have you back on the platform, James.
Thank you very much. Nice to be back, and I look forward to next time.
Yeah. But before you go, do you want to talk about any of the interview that you've done recently?
Well, people can check. You can check on the Twitter feed regarding recent interviews with the likes of Paul McVeigh, who played for Norwich, and also Chris Bart-Williams, where we speak about his time at Sheffield United and playing for Apoel Nicosia in Cyprus. And they can John Heron should be released later today, and then upcoming interviews would include the likes of Andy Cook, who played for Burnley. Daniel Bruce playing for New Mexico United in the division below the MLS, and a couple of surprises too. So stay tuned.
Brilliant. And last but not least, the chairman of the board, Mube Guna. Welcome,
Yeah,
welcome back,
man.
man.
Always a pleasure to be here, man, and always pleasure to be here with, the Godfather James, and it's always here to be, man. Jim, it's nice to meet you too. I live
Yeah,
in the States, Jim, but my roots are from Jamaica, where football is
yeah,
actually big. In the States, it's the NFL and it's basketball, but I'm from Jamaica, and that's the number one sports is football. We don't have no soccer in Jamaica, so that's where my roots is from, and that's where the Arsenal love came in from. But it's always nice to be on the show, man. You already know. Make sure you guys go check out the cannon
Merch.
Can I,
footer fits. Make sure you go check out the merch, man. Make sure you go check out the
can I
merch.
say can I say one thing, Alex, to
Yeah.
Mobay before I go? When I was in Cardiff, I was the coach and the captain of a West Indian side from Cardiff.
Wow.
All of them were from the West Indies. I was
Yeah.
the only white guy, the only white guy on the team. And but they knew I loved them and they loved me,
That's all that matters.
And for at least a season and a half, we were unbeatable. All right,
Oh man,
and the natural talent of West Indians is just extraordinary, just natural talent.
that is true.
Brilliant.
That is true.
Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. So I'm going to let our moderator, Monty, have the last word here, where he says, without you, our 7,590 subscribers, there could never, ever be a Canon 40 TV. So to all my panelists, everyone who's ever followed, subscribed, Facebook, Twitter, and of course, YouTube, thank you so very much. This is the first post-game reaction. It's not going to be the last one. We've got the long season to go ahead of us. But to all my panelists here, thank you so very much. And if by chance you've been wondering who you've been listening to, you've been listening to Cannon Fodder, the channel for Arsenal fans all over this world.